We tell stories of human. Way, not with artificial voices or AI slop. In the end, what's HFI without? Humanity? Subscribe to keep it this way. My name is Amir Sohal. Let's begin. Space was quiet around the outer human colony of Area 9. It was the kind of silence people trusted. Soft lights covered the domes, and inside, life felt safe. Children laughed under the artificial sky. Their voices echoed like music. They did not know fear. At the center of the colony stood the Elder. He was not fully human and not fully alien. He was something rare, something important. He had seen many worlds rise and fall. He had chosen to stay with humans, not because they were strong, but because they cared. That was what made them special. Today, the Elder stood in front of a small group of children. They sat around him in a circle. Some were human, some were from other friendly species. All of them listened closely. Strength is not in your hands, the Elder said in a calm voice. It is in your choices. A small boy raised his hand. Even if someone attacks us? The Elder smiled gently. Yes, even then. The children did not fully understand, but they trusted him. Above them, the artificial skies slowly turned orange, copying a sunset from Earth. It was peaceful, too peaceful. Far away, beyond the edge of the system, something moved. No alarms rang. No warnings came. Dark ships slipped out of empty space like shadows. They did not send signals. They did not ask questions. They did not wait. They came to destroy. Back in the colony, a young technician suddenly looked up from his console. Something felt wrong. His screen flickered. Signal loss, he whispered. Before he could react, the first strike hit. A silent beam cut through one of the outer domes. There was no explosion. Just a clean, deadly line. Air rushed out. Lights died. Then came the second strike. And the third. Now alarm screamed. The peaceful colony turned into chaos in seconds. People ran in every direction. Doors slammed shut. Emergency systems activated. But it was too fast. Too sudden. They're attacking, someone shouted. But who? Another voice cried. No one had an answer. At the center, the children froze. Fear spread across their faces. The ground shook lightly. The Elder stood up. He looked up as if he could see through the sky. And maybe he could. They have come, he said quietly. One girl grabbed his hand. What do we do? The Elder did not answer right away. He looked around at the children. So young, so full of life. Then another strike hit, closer this time. The building shook hard. Some lights went out. The Elder made his choice. Stay close to me, he said. Outside, fire started to rise. Smoke filled the air. People screamed for help. Emergency teams tried to respond, but they were already losing control. In orbit, defense systems tried to activate. They failed. The enemy ships were too advanced, too prepared. They moved like hunters. Every defense point was destroyed before it could fire. Back inside, the Elder guided the children through a hallway. He moved quickly but calmly. We need to reach the lower shelters, he said. Will we be safe there? A boy asked, his voice shaking. The Elder paused for a moment. I will do everything I can, he replied. They turned a corner and stopped. The hallway ahead was gone. A direct strike had cut through it. Fire blocked the path. The children stepped back in fear. The Elder closed his eyes for a second. Then he looked another way. This way, he said. They moved again. But the attacks kept coming. It was not random. It was planned, precise, targeted. The enemy knew exactly where to hit. Back in the control center, the colony leader tried to send a message. All systems failing. We need help, he shouted. But communication arrays were being destroyed one by one. Send a distress call to Human Command, someone yelled. We're trying. The signal flickered, then died. No, come on, the operator said, hitting the console. For a moment, it seemed like no message would escape. Then a weak channel opened. Just one. Send it now, the leader ordered. The operator typed fast. Hands shaking. This is Area 9. We are under attack. Unknown enemy. Heavy losses. Explosions shook the room. They are targeting civilians. A blast hit nearby. Sparks flew. Children are in danger. The signal started to break. Please send help. Then everything went dark. The message was gone. Or so they thought. Back in the corridors, the elder and the children reached a small chamber. It was not a full shelter, but it was strong. For now, we stay here, the elder said. The children huddled together. One of them started crying. I want my mom. Another joined. Fear spread fast. The elder knelt down. His voice stayed calm. Listen to me, he said softly. You are not alone. Outside, heavy footsteps echoed. Not human, not friendly. The elder's expression changed. He knew that sound. The door shook. Something was trying to open it. The children gasped. Stay behind me, the elder said. The door cracked, then broke. Through the smoke, tall figures entered. Cold, silent, armed. Their armor was dark, their faces hidden. They did not speak. They did not hesitate. One of them raised a weapon. The elder stepped forward. Stop, he said. The figure paused for just a second. The elder looked directly at them. These are children. No response. They are not your enemy. Still silence. For a moment, time felt frozen. Then the weapon fired. A bright flash filled the room. The children screamed. The elder did not move back. He stood between them and death. Again, the weapon fired. And again, the room filled with light and sound. When it ended, the elder fell. The children cried out, No! The attackers turned their weapons again. No mercy. No emotion. Just orders. The chamber went silent. Completely silent. Minutes later, the attackers left. They had done their job. They had erased the future of that colony. Hours passed. Fires burned low. Smoke covered the sky. The once peaceful area 9 was now a graveyard. But far away, a signal appeared. Weak, broken, but still alive. In a distant human outpost, a communications officer noticed it. Sir, I'm picking up something. What is it? I don't know, it's very weak. Play it. Static filled the room. Then a voice. Area 9 under attack. The room went quiet. Children danger. More static. Send help. Then silence. The officer looked up slowly. Did you hear that? The commander nodded. Yes. Should we respond? The commander did not answer immediately. He stared at the stars on the screen. Something in his eyes changed. Trace the signal, he said. We're trying, sir, but it's almost gone. Try harder. Minutes passed. Finally, we got it. Location? The officer hesitated, then spoke quietly. Area 9. The commander closed his eyes for a second, then opened them again. Cold, focused. Send this to Central Command, he said. And, sir? He turned slightly. This is not just an attack, he said slowly. This is a message. The officer swallowed. What kind of message? The commander looked back at the dark space. The kind, he said, that humans do not ignore. Far away, in the ruins of Area 9, the wind moved through broken structures, carrying nothing but silence. But that silence would not last, because somewhere in the vast human systems, someone had heard the call, and humans always answer. The signal from Area 9 spread across human space like a quiet storm. It did not appear on public channels. There were no news reports, no panic, no loud reactions. Instead, there was silence, a deep, controlled silence. Inside the Central Command Station orbiting Earth, a group of high-ranking officers stood around a large holographic table. The image of Area 9 rotated slowly above it, dark, damaged, almost lifeless. No one spoke for a long time. The broken message played again. Children danger, send help. Static followed. Then nothing. Admiral Kale stood at the head of the table. His face showed no anger, no fear, just focus. Confirm casualties, he said. A data officer responded quietly. Colony is nearly gone, sir. Civilian losses extremely high. A pause. Children confirmed among the dead. No one moved. The room felt colder. And the elder? Kale asked. Another officer looked down at his screen. No life signs detected. We believe he is gone. For a moment, the Admiral closed his eyes, just for a second. Then he opened them again. Identify the attackers. A new image appeared above the table. Dark ships, sharp designs, cold structure, unknown species at first, the officer said, but we ran deep scans. Another image replaced the first. A name appeared. The Varnak. A low murmur moved through the room. They've been watching us for years, one officer said. Not watching, another corrected. Studying. Admiral Kale remained still. Why attack now? Someone asked. The answer came from the intelligence chief. They believe humans are a risk. A risk? One officer repeated. Yes, the chief continued. We build alliances. We protect weaker species. We create balance. He paused. They don't believe in balance. Another officer added. The elder was a symbol, a bridge between species. Kale nodded slowly. So they removed him. And the children? A younger officer asked, unable to stay silent. The room turned toward him. Why kill children? The intelligence chief looked at him directly. To send a message, he said. What message? A quiet voice answered from the side. That no future should exist. Silence returned. Heavy, uncomfortable, but controlled. Admiral Kale placed both hands on the table. Then we understand their position, he said. And now they will understand ours. Far away, in a hidden military dock, something began to move. No public announcement was made. No warnings were sent. But deep inside restricted zones, human fleets were being prepared. Massive ships powered up one by one. Engines hummed softly. Weapon systems activated silently. Soldiers moved through corridors with calm steps. No shouting. No panic. They knew this was not a normal mission. On one of the largest ships, the HSS Resolute, Captain Mara Voss walked onto command bridge. Status? She asked. All systems ready. Her officer replied. Awaiting orders. Mira looked at the main screen. Area 9 appeared again. Burned. Broken. Gone. She had visited that colony once. She remembered the children. She remembered the elder. Her jaw tightened slightly, but her voice stayed calm. Any civilian evacuations in nearby systems? Yes, Captain. Quietly in progress. Good. She turned. We don't want more targets. Back at Central Command, the final meeting continued. We have 3 options, one officer said. State them, Kale replied. First, we do nothing. We strengthen defenses. No, Kale said immediately. Second, we send a warning. No. Third, the officer hesitated. We strike back. The room stayed still. Not randomly, the officer added. Not emotionally. Strategically. Kale nodded slightly. Continue. We target their military. Only their military. We show them that we are not weak, but we are not like them. A quiet agreement spread across the room. But we must act fast, another officer said. If we wait, they may strike again. Kale looked around the table. Each face was serious, focused, ready. This is not revenge, he said slowly. This is a decision. He paused. They cross a line. Another pause. The only line we never allow. No one asked what that line was. They already knew. Children, deep in space, near the outer edge of Varnak territory, a small human probe drifted silently. It had been there for years, watching, learning, waiting. Now it activated. Data streamed back to human command. Fleet positions, defense layouts, weak points, everything. Back on Earth, Kale received a report. Perfect, he said quietly. Send it to all strike groups. Hours later, the first human fleet moved. No lights, no signals, just motion, like shadows in space. Captain Mara stood on the bridge as stars stretched around them. Jump in 10 seconds, her officer said. Coordinates locked. Mira nodded. Execute. The ship vanished. Inside Varnak space, everything seemed normal. Their colonies functioned as usual. Their military stations operated with strict control. They believed they had already won. After all, no response had come. No message. No retaliation. Only silence. To them, that silence meant fear. But they were wrong. On a distant Varnak outpost, a guard looked out into space. Nothing unusual. Just darkness. Then, a flicker. He frowned. What was that? Another guard turned. What? Before he could answer, everything went black. No explosion. No warning. Just gone. The station lost power instantly. Systems failed. Communications cut. Inside, panic began. What's happening? No signal. Main reactor is down. How? No answers came. Because outside, a single human ship floated quietly, watching, waiting. Then it moved on. Back on the Resolute, Mira received the report. First target disabled. She nodded once. No civilian damage? Confirmed. Only military. Good. She looked forward again. This is just the beginning. Across Varnak territory, small failures began to appear. Outposts went silent. Ships disappeared. Sensors stopped working. At first, they thought it was a system error. Then they realized it was happening everywhere. In the Varnak command center, alarms finally rang. Report, the commander demanded. We are losing outer stations. How many? 5, no 8, now 12. How is this possible? No enemy detected. The commander slammed his hand down. Find them. But it was already too late. Because humans were not attacking loudly. They were not showing power. They were showing control. Back in human space, Admiral Kale stood alone, watching the updates. Each report came in quietly. Each success confirmed. No celebration. No smiles. Just progress. An officer approached him. Sir, Phase 1 is complete. Kale nodded. And their response? Confusion. Panic. Kale looked at the stars. Good. The officer hesitated. Sir, what happens next? Kale's answer was simple. We continue. Far away, in the darkness of space, the human fleets moved deeper, closer to the Varnak homeworld, closer to the heart. And this time, the enemy would see them, because the message was about to change, from silence to fear. Space was quiet again, but this time, it was a calm before the storm. The Varnak believed they had destroyed the humans of Area 9 and sent a message to all neighboring colonies. Humans were weak, predictable, afraid. They were wrong. Far beyond the edge of their territory, the human fleet waited. Massive ships drifted silently through the darkness, engines powered down, shield hidden, weapons unarmed, but ready. They looked like harmless shadows. Perfect shadows. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge of the HSS Resolute, staring at the holographic map of the Varnak colonies. One by one, she traced the locations of their military stations. None were defended the way humans expected. None. They won't see this coming, she said softly, her hands resting on the console. Her crew nodded silently. No one spoke out of fear or respect. Fear and respect were both correct emotions here. Phase 2, she asked. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Harrow, tapped a few keys. All strike coordinates are locked. We're ready to engage. Minimal casualties outside military zones. Mira nodded. Do it. In Varnak space. The first signals began as whispers. One colony's power systems failed. Then another. Ships in orbit disappeared without a trace. Communication satellites blinked out. Outposts that were once fully operational went dark. The Varnak command center did not understand. Their screen showed nothing unusual. System errors, they said, glitches. But human strikes were precise, perfectly calculated. No civilians harmed, no unnecessary destruction, only military targets. A Varnak general screamed into his comm channel. Report, why are our fleets disappearing? How? How can they strike without being seen? Silence answered him. Only the darkness of space. On the Resolute, Mira watched the status updates flicker. 12 stations neutralized. 5 fleets eliminated. And still, no alarm bells had rung in human space. Lieutenant Harrow turned to her. They're panicking, Captain. Sensors indicate total confusion. They don't know who's attacking. Mira smiled faintly. Good. That's how they should feel. This isn't about revenge. It's about clarity. They need to see what crossing lines costs. The bridge crew worked in silence, coordinating attacks. Each strike was surgical. Each movement calculated. Human ships appear like ghosts. Silent, invisible, unstoppable. Far away, the Varnak's largest military station orbited a gas giant. Its command center was crowded with officers, their faces pale. Another fleet lost. How? One shouted. A Varnak intelligence officer hesitated. It's controlled. Precise. They aren't attacking civilians. They are sending a message. A message. The general leaned forward. From humans? They are weak. They were destroyed at Area 9. How can a message be coming from ghosts? The intelligence officer swallowed. Certsum, the humans. They never stopped. They were waiting, watching. The room went silent. On board the Resolute, Mira opened a channel to fleet. Prepare for jump to the central sector. Once we are there, we strike their main command hub. Only military. Only those responsible for Area 9. The fleet responded in perfect unison. Every captain understood. No words were wasted. No hesitation allowed. Jump in 5, 4, 3, 2. Space rippled as the ships vanished. They reappeared at the edge of Varnak territory like falling shadows, sudden and unexpected. Inside the Varnak command hub, alarms finally rang. Screens flashed red. Hundreds of sensors went offline simultaneously. Officers ran across the floor. Panic spread like fire. Impossible, shouted one. They shouldn't be here. They are, said another, voice shaking. And they are everywhere. Every fleet, every station. All gone, all at once. The Varnak leader, a tall, imposing figure with silver armor, slammed his fists on the console. This cannot be. A junior officer spoke up, trembling. Sir, we underestimated them. They are precise, calculated, controlled. They are not angry. They are focused. The leader froze, realization dawning. They are not human in the way we imagined. They are something else. Back on the Resolute, Mira gave the order. Initiate Phase 3. Strike at the command hub directly. Keep civilians untouched. Show them what humans can do when lines are crossed. The fleet moved in silence. Torpedoes, energy disruptors, and precision drones were deployed simultaneously. Within minutes, the Varnak command hub was paralyzed. Military communications stopped. Navigation systems flickered and died. The Varnak general screamed into the darkened channels. Call for reinforcements. Now, there was no response. Every message was blocked. Every attempt traced and intercepted. Humans were ghosts. Humans were unstoppable. In orbit above the Varnak homeworld, Mira allowed herself a brief moment of reflection. The fleet had done exactly what was intended. No unnecessary deaths. No destruction outside the responsible zones. Every strike sent a clear message. Humans would not be ignored. Lieutenant Harrow leaned toward her. Sir, they don't understand yet. Myra's eyes narrowed. They will. And when they do, her voice dropped. They will fear not our anger, but our patience. On the Varnak homeworld, panic erupted. Military officers ran across massive halls, yelling for reports. Civilians looked on in fear. Confusion dominated every level of command. The Varnak leader activated an emergency broadcast. Humans, we demand you cease immediately. Leave our systems. There was no reply. Instead, a human transmission appeared on all Varnak channels. The voice was calm, cold, and clear. We know what you did at Area 9. We know the lives you took. We are sending a message. This is not war. This is clarity. You targeted children. You targeted the elder. You left a colony in flames. Now, you face the consequence of crossing the line you cannot cross. Silence followed. Only the Varnak's own fear. In the dark of space, human ships began moving systematically. They did not chase. They did not rush. They were methodical. Every strike calculated. Every movement precise. For the first time, the Varnak realized the humans were not reacting emotionally. There was no blind rage. There was no desperation. There was control. And control was terrifying. Aboard the Resolute, Mira looked at the holographic image of the Varnak territories. Every strike had been logged. Every fleet movement had been anticipated. Every colony carefully avoided. She tapped the table. Phase 3 complete. Damage limited to military units. Message delivered. Harrow hesitated. And the next phase, Captain? Mira smiled faintly. Phase 4 is the heart. Back on the Varnak command hub, fear became panic. Reports streamed in. Fleets missing. Outposts destroyed. Communication hubs paralyzed. They no longer doubted human capability. A Varnak officer whispered to his neighbor. We underestimated them completely. The neighbor shook his head. It's not just power, it's discipline. They are not like us. The leader stood silent, staring at the failing screens. His mind raced. How can they strike so precisely? How can they avoid harming civilians? How do they know exactly who to hit? The answer was simple. Humans had always known. Humans had always watched. Humans had always remembered. And now, the Varnak were learning the cost of their actions. In human space, Admiral Kale watched updates roll in. The fleet had done exactly as intended. No emotion, no revenge beyond the plan. Just precision, patience, and control. He turned to his officer. The message is clear. They will understand soon enough. And when they do, he paused. They will never attack humans again without thinking of the consequences. Back among the ruins of Area 9, a small group of surviving humans watched the distant stars. The smoke still rose from the broken colony. Children lost. The elder gone. Pain and grief heavy on their hearts. But somewhere, far away, the first signs of justice had begun. The attackers felt what it meant to face humans who would not forget. And humanity always answers the call. The Varnak homeworld glowed under twin suns, unaware that their entire military network had already begun to crumble. Silence filled the command centers where once there had been chaos. Systems were down. Fleets had vanished. Communications blocked. And still, no human ship had fired a single shot beyond what was necessary. From orbit, the human fleet appeared as shadows against the bright world below. The HSS Resolute led the formation, quiet, calm, deadly precise. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge, her face pale in the soft light of the holographic displays. Every report told her the same story. Varnak fear had become total confusion. They had no way to anticipate the next move. Lieutenant Harrow approached cautiously. Captain, they're trying to contact us. A transmission is coming from the Varnak High Command. Myra's eyes narrowed. Open it. Let's hear what they have to say. The holographic screen flickered, and a tall, imposing Varnak leader appeared. His silver armor gleamed unnaturally in the hologram, but his eyes betrayed panic. Humans, he said sharply, we demand an immediate ceasefire. We wish to negotiate. You have already destroyed much of our military infrastructure. We will comply with your terms. Please, we can avoid further bloodshed. Mira listened carefully. Her voice was calm, steady, carrying the weight of authority. Terms of negotiation come after acknowledgement. First, you must understand what you have done. You destroyed a human colony. You killed children. You killed our elder. You tried to erase us. That is your crime. The Varnak leader's posture stiffened. We did what was necessary to protect our systems. The colony was weak. The elder, he was not human. Children, irrelevant. They were collateral. Mira interrupted sharply. Collateral? Children? Innocents? You call that collateral? The Varnak commander hesitated. He searched for words but could find none. For the first time, fear replaced arrogance. Lieutenant Harrow leaned in. Captain, they don't understand the consequences. They think this is about power, but it's about justice. Mira nodded. Exactly. And humans deliver justice in ways that are precise, fair, and unforgettable. On board the Resolute, the fleet moved into formation above the Varnak capital. Drones and surveillance ships swept the atmosphere, identifying only military facilities. Civilian districts remained untouched by human fire. Every attack so far has been surgical, Mara said quietly. No mistakes, no chaos. That's how we fight. That's how we show them the difference between us and them. A junior officer glanced nervously at the captain. Sir, some of the Varnak fleets are trying to flee toward neutral space. Myra's lips curved slightly. Let them go. Only those responsible will face the consequences. Below, the Varnak populace watched in fear as human ships hovered over their world. Some hid, some fled, but the elite, the military commanders responsible for Area 9, stood frozen. They understood too late. The humans were not attacking blindly. A low murmur ran through their ranks. One officer whispered, "They are not like anyone we have ever faced." The general shouted at him, "Do not speak. Focus. Prepare defenses." But it was too late. The human strike began. Drones targeted every remaining military station on the Varnak surface. Energy disruptors deactivated command systems. Starship weapons were neutralized. Troop movements paralyzed. And yet, not one civilian life was taken. Every Varnak soldier caught in the strike realized their mistake too late. The humans had waited. They had calculated every move. And now, the consequences were unavoidable. On board the Resolute, Mara watched the live feed of Varnak stations going offline. Each moment was silent but decisive. "Message received," she said softly. Lieutenant Harrow looked puzzled. "Message? Their fear," Mara explained. "They finally understand what crossing the line means. That is the message. We don't need to destroy their world to make them learn." In the Varnak command hub, chaos had turned to desperation. Officers scrambled to restore systems. Commanders begged for reinforcements. None arrived. The humans had anticipated every move. Every strategy failed. The Varnak leader finally addressed his officers. "It is over. They are not attacking randomly. They are controlled. They are delivering justice." An officer whispered, "Justice? They are humans. How can they show justice?" The leader looked out at the holographic map. Red dots of deactivated fleets and destroyed stations spread across the system. He swallowed. "This is what happens when you kill innocents. This is what we created." The humans paused. They had achieved the goal. Control, justice, clarity. Not chaos. Not revenge. Admiral Kale, observing from human space, spoke to his officers. "The message has been delivered. We do not destroy worlds. We do not take innocence. But those who cross lines no one can cross, will be held accountable." Harrow nodded. "Sir, the Varnak will remember this forever." Kale's face hardened. "They will, and that is all that matters." Back on Area 9, among the few survivors hidden on nearby moons, whispers traveled. Children who had escaped, families who had survived, their hearts lifted not by vengeance, but by the precision of human justice. They will remember. One survivor said quietly, "They cannot ignore us again." Another added, "And they will never forget the elder." The memory of the elder and the children who had been lost fueled something greater than anger. It fueled a lesson. In orbit above the Varnak homeworld, Mara initiated the final broadcast. Her calm voice filled the Varnak channels. "This is the message. Humans do not act without reason. We do not destroy without cause. You killed innocents. You killed the elder. That line was never to be crossed. Today, you learn what it costs. You may rebuild. You may survive. But never forget, humanity watches. Humanity remembers. And humanity always answers." The transmission ended. Silence fell. For the Varnak, the lesson sank deep. Fear, respect, and realization replaced arrogance and hatred. They had underestimated humans. They had attacked children, thinking it irrelevant. They had killed the elder, believing humans weak. Now, all of that had been answered, and answered with precision. In the quiet of space, the human fleet withdrew. Ships slipped away as silently as they had arrived. No fanfare, no celebration, only a quiet determination. On the Resolute, Mira allowed herself a breath. It's done, she said. Harrow nodded. It is done, and they will never forget. Mira looked out at the stars. Good. Let's go home. Back on Area 9, survivors began to rebuild. Fires were extinguished. Broken homes repaired. The memory of the elder and the children lost became the foundation for a stronger community. The lesson was harsh, one survivor whispered to a child, but it will guide us. Humanity does not forget, and it does not forgive easily. And in the darkness of space, somewhere far away, the Varnak learned a truth they would carry forever. When humans answer, the cause is precise, just and unforgettable. The stars above Area 9 shone quietly again, and humanity, watching from the void, waited, always ready. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and support us. It really helps us grow and bring more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.